group in the know.
To the world, you are a mother, but to your family, you are the world. Good evening. I'm Miss Jill. This is In the Know. Tonight, we have an organization with us, two special guests, very special guests, who are talking to us about the importance of supporting the mother. So I want to first welcome Tasha Davis and Taylor Banks to the set tonight. Good evening.
Thank you for having us.
Hello. So we're going to start out just with a quick introduction from both of you on a personal level, just a little bit about who you are and your affiliation with the organization. And again, I want to thank you for joining us. This is In the Know, brought to you by Our Neutral Voices. Let's start with Miss Tasha.
So I am Tasha Davis, and I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a wearer of many hats. I have a wonderful husband, Terrell Davis, and I have 6 beautiful children. I won't name them all because there's a lot. But I am the founder and the CEO of Young Mothers of America.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Taylor.
My name is Taylor Banks. I am also a wife and a mother to 5 beautiful babies. I am a full spectrum doula, childbirth educator, and lactation professional. And I am the COO of Young Mothers of America.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you both for being here.
Ladies, you look so beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So beautiful, so young, so unstressed.
I know, right?
That's hilarious.
All right. So, Young Mothers of America. So, we want to start out. Let's talk about where the organization came from, where it was birthed, how the name came about. So, if we can start there.
Yes. So Young Mothers of America actually came about in my bedroom when I was 12 years old. I had my first child when I was 12, and I was obviously never thinking I would be old, which is why it's called Young Mothers of America. But I genuinely was looking for support. And I needed support that did not come from my family or from familiar people. I needed peer support, and I needed people who just vibed and understood what I was experiencing. I had a wonderful support system within my family, but the major thing with family and support is always their opinion.
Okay, right.
And so first of all, the support that I had did not reflect what I was going through. My mother was married when she had me. She was over 30, and I was 12. I was not married. I was a young mother, and the advice that, although very solid, my mother could provide me, it was not what I needed in that time. So Young Mothers of America was birthed purely off of the fact that I needed support that looked like what I was going through.
Gotcha.
That was good.
Before we go any further, would you mind sharing, when you say that you weren't getting those things that you needed, although you were supported per se, when you say you were not receiving things that you thought you needed, walk us through at 12 years old what those things were and what you thought you needed that you were not receiving, because I'm assuming that those are very pertinent parts of your program today.
1,000%.
Okay.
So I came from a very stable and rooted family, rooted in Christ, rooted in the community, rooted in all of the things. However, when I got pregnant at 12, I also became a statistic.
Right.
That's huge. And when you are looking for support as a statistic, you need to find other statistics that are like you to be able to offer that support. So things that I was looking for were really like, I'm 12 and I'm nursing a child, but I also have to go to school.
Right.
And I have to get up in the morning and figure out how that's going to look. So going to my mom, who was an old school mother, who was rooted in the African American community, who was like, you nursing, you're like a cow. And I was like, oh my God, am I like a cow? These are things that statistically and culturally we don't talk about. So even though I had a mother who was supportive in the sense of, you keep your baby, this will not be a handicap, this is not going to be something that holds you back, she didn't really understand what I was actually going through.
Right.
And I didn't understand what she was going through having a child that had a child. So I needed peer support.
Yeah.
I needed someone who understood being a teenager, wanting to still hang out with friends, wanting to balance keeping friends. Like, how do you keep friends and they don't understand that you have to change your baby?
For sure.
I can't go to the skating rink. My
That's
son
right.
can't go.
For
That's
sure.
right.
So these are all things that as a teenage mother or as a young mother, I really needed to navigate with someone who was experiencing it alongside me.
Gotcha.
And one of the biggest things that impacted me when I finally unveiled my pregnancy, my mom did not say anything to me for 72 hours.
Really? Okay.
A solid 3 days.
Was she the first person that you had told?
No. I really did not know what was happening in my body. I really didn't have any idea. So I asked around to older individuals who were like, oh, well, maybe you're pregnant. And I was like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
What's pregnancy? Also things we don't talk about. One of the biggest things that Young Mothers of America stands on is the tradition of open and transparent conversations. But I couldn't have that with my mother, who was a sheriff. Wasn't going to happen.
That
So-
that adds to the story. Interesting.
It was a huge piece.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we kind of piggyback on inside of our programming with Young Mothers of America is having a safe space to articulate what you're going through.
Perfect.
Having a safe space or a safe person to be able to have those really tough conversations, whether you are young or old. So even though it's Young Mothers of America, we service the life of the mother. Essentially, age is what you make it.
Yeah.
And we have young mothers who are 40 plus who are experiencing things that 12-year-old me experienced. It really just depends on where you are in your journey, and journeys are a lifetime. So it's dubbed Young Mothers of America because I was young.
Yes, absolutely.
However, young is just a title.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely.
And there's so many different angles that we could go here, so I mean, you said so much in such a short period of time, but so I really wanted to go back to when you were 12, because you had to have an amazing mind to begin to think outside of yourself, because I'm thinking the first thing, fear and just scared, and for you to begin to think outside of that, that was, first of all, that was big. But then with your mom, you talked about how she was rooted in the family that you came from. So that background, and you're right when you say a statistic from the beginning, right? So, so what was that like navigating? Because now you have to deal with all of the thoughts of the other people. So mom accepted it. Sounds like mom is the superhero too, right?
Very much so.
So yourself included, but it seems like having a real strong support system at home, that was the big deal. But so how did you navigate with all of the other people? Because now you have not just the students at school, but the teachers and everybody else, the adults, and then at church and everywhere else, and family members too. But so how did you keep yourself strong to maneuver, through that? And
Great question.
So, first and foremost, the funny thing is God does not make mistakes. I was never fearful of being pregnant.
yeah,
I knew that I was going to have my son. I hid my son intentionally because I was not fearful, but afraid of what my mom may have done. And so, again, it goes back to those cultural differences. Like, I didn't even know at 12 if my mom would insinuate I should get an abortion.
Yes.
And so I had enough wherewithal at 12, not knowing really what I was even journeying into,
exactly.
to know if I hide this baby long enough, I probably could have him.
Yeah, right.
Well, then
That's the
what I'm
reality.
saying. It
Yep.
seems like
And
you were
that's-
really mature
that's
in
what I
your
did.
thinking.
Right.
Okay.
And so my mom actually did not find out totally. As a mom, I think she
Kind of suspected
suspected
Yeah.
something, but she did not truthfully find out until I was almost 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
I was still running
Oh,
track.
my
I was still doing
goodness.
all the things. So I was 8 months pregnant. We went into a doctor's office because she was like, "You're not cycling." And I was like, that is a thing. And so we went into the doctor's office and the doctor was like, "Well, it could be fibroids. Like a lot of African American women suffer from fibroids. Maybe that's what it is. We'll do an ultrasound." And at 12, I'm like, I have no idea what that is, but it sounds
Right.
invasive. And I'm like, and also I know we probably will have to schedule this. And so he says, "Yeah, we can get you right over to the ultrasound tech."
You wanted to put it.
And I was like,
Right now.
"Oh, Jesus." And so we went over to the next room and the lady with the probe, she started scanning and she dropped the probe and ran out of the room.
I bet she did.
And anybody
Oh, my
who knows my mother, she is dramatic. She was like, "Oh my God, you have cancer." And I was like, "What?" 3 doctors came back and I was like, "Oh my God, I have cancer." And
What?
3 doctors came back in, and this doctor, I will never forget, she turned the ultrasound machine screen and she put the probe on and she said, "Here's a head, here's a
Oh,
penis,
wow.
you're having a boy."
Oh,
And my
wow.
mom passed out right there on the
Literally.
floor.
way.
Literally.
Fell out of the chair.
Because it wasn't cancer.
Dramatic.
It definitely wasn't cancer.
Fell out of the chair. And when she came to, we got in the car and she said nothing from that point to 3 days later. Nothing. And the whole time I'm like, "Can I have some grits? Do you like me? Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" Like, I mean,
my
I'm doing
goodness.
all the things. But what I can say is, again, God does not make mistakes. My mother did not say anything to me because she didn't want to hurt me. She didn't
Or
know
say the wrong
what
thing.
to say.
She would still
didn't wanna-
process it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
So she saved her thoughts. And then the first words that she said to me after her 3 days of silence were, "This baby is not going to be handicapped. You will be successful. You will graduate from high school. You will
Amazing.
do what it takes. And I will not allow you to ever tell me that because of this baby, you could not do it."
Wow.
And at 15 and a half, I graduated. At 16, I started college. At 17, I enlisted into the military, which she absolutely dreadfully made a scene about. And here I am.
And you needed to hear that. And not only that, but
That's
it was
beautiful.
true.
Yes.
It was true. Before we get into the program itself, Taylor, tell us when you came on board and what piqued your interest in the organization.
I always laugh when I get this question because me and Tasha originally met with me being her doula.
Oh.
And so from my perspective, it all started from me hearing about her dream and what she wanted to do. And I'm just like, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
She had already had already started functioning, and she was considering like if she should go full-fledged and, go head first into it, or if she should, like what she should do, what direction she should go in. And I was just like, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. And so that inspired me to kind of jump into it as well.
That's beautiful.
And here we are. Here we are. I do.
Just for the sake of people that may not understand a doula, and can you speak to that real quick and what that process actually looked like?
Sure. Okay, so a doula is essentially an individual who supports a mother through the birthing process. So that can look like in all stages. That can look like pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, and then in postpartum. And so they support them through things like pain management, assisting with just the journey in general, education, and helping them select a path to which they want to go in birthing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
Not
you for that.
necessarily like the midwife you're going to.
No, so not the same. We
you.
all kind of work cohesively as a team to support the mother. And so the midwife would be the individual who's catching the baby.
Exactly.
The doula would be the person who's on the side of the mother supporting her and kind of cheering
Thank you
her
for
along.
that.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about the program. I do have the mission that I'm going to read and a couple other things briefly, and then I'm going to let the experts kind of expound on what the program does, what it is, why it's necessary for our community. So a social service referral network for parents needing encouragement, guidance, and support navigating the world. The mission to utilize community partnerships to improve the lives of children and at-risk mothers and the overall family structure, to strengthen relationships between young and at-risk mothers with the community, to build and set each member up for success. The goal is to create a safe, which you've mentioned several times, loving, respectful environment for mothers and children to interact. So that is the mission and just a couple of bullet points. So Tasha, tell us what that looks like. Tell us what the program does here locally in Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm. So we are a local nonprofit, and we service at-risk, underserved, and low or no income mothers, fathers, and their children. Okay. And our goal is to actually support them with a backwards model. That essentially means we know that they're parents and we know that they have children, but we don't care about them kids. What we care about is the foundation. Yeah. And really what that looks like is
I love it.
It's real, it's raw, and it's authentic. And really what that looks like is essentially if a mother or a father has love, they are in a healthy situation or scenario, and they are supported, they will in turn pour that back into their children.
Right.
We are not concerned about their children's upbringing if their foundation is solid.
Amen.
They will reach back and pull their own children up, but we have a lot of parents who have not been parented, and so they are in turn parenting children, and that just doesn't really make sense. Yeah. And as a social service organization, we choose to parent the parent and lay the foundation versus parenting the child who's going back home to a parent who hasn't been parented.
Gotcha.
So here locally, we do a lot. That's literally the 30-second commercial. We have 72 different classes, courses, workshops, and activities that parents and their children can participate in. Those things range from healthy relationships and how to recognize if you're not in one, all the way to housing and housing programming, which can in turn help them establish their first-time buyer's loan. That looks like transportation services, that looks like fun things like our barbecue and beats, that looks like so much. Okay. It's really anything that a parent themselves needs to utilize in order to push forward and gain success.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Wow. So I have so many questions. Just so real quick, because you say young mothers, and I know you already talked about the age, and then you mentioned the fathers. So does the mother have to be the biological mother, or she could be a mother from just a foster parent,
a mother from another mother. Yes. So that's the unique thing about our programming. You just have to identify as a parent.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So fathers also. Okay. One of the unique things about our programming, for the first about 16 years of Young Mothers of America, we only focused on mom, which is why so much of our programming material states young mothers. We constantly have our fathers in the office that say, yeah, I guess I'm a young mother too. And we're like, there is a Young Fathers of America that came about 2 years ago. And it was because we saw how important the father was in the structure of the family.
Sure.
We are also faith-based, and we believe that the dad is the head of the family. We also want to keep families in harmony. So we have a lot of mothers who present and they say, could you help my child's father? And so now we have the ability to do so. And we have the ability to keep those families united and to help dad work on himself and his strengths in order to support the family unit.
Sure.
That's
sure.
so good.
So let's say someone's watching, okay, and either they're maybe they're a 15-year-old and they're pregnant, or maybe they're a mother and their 15-year-old is pregnant. So let's get to the part where the person who is in need of services or assistance gets to you. How do they get to you? And then what happens after they get to you?
So there are multiple ways to get to us. Essentially, a person can be referred by an agency.
Okay.
A person can be referred by a court or a community service agency. DCS does referrals. A person can walk through our doors and just say, I need help, and they can self-refer. We have members who have come through programming and they refer a friend, a sister, a cousin, 6 of them. So any of those ways, we do not hold bars against how a person comes to us.
Sure.
However they show up to our doors. They can contact us through our website. They can contact us through social media. They can literally just walk through the doors, and we will support them.
Can you give the address as well as the website?
Yes. So our website is www.ymoafw.org. And our address is 5206 Decatur Road, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46806.
Perfect. And you said social media. Would that be under the YMOA, or is that under?
Sure.
Yeah.
I believe it's under Young Mothers of America, like written out.
Yeah.
But I think if you do YMOA, we come up
Gotcha.
somewhere.
Either way.
Yes.
Perfect.
I just want to, real quick, Young Mothers of America. So the reach, how far is the reach? I mean, where are the boundaries? Where do you say, no, I'm sorry, we can't help?
So we actually are international. We have a chapter in Uganda. So we are reaching across the world. It is so amazing. It is a blessing. I almost come to tears every time I think about that. So we don't say no. And that's part of our mission, is to love and support everyone like Christ would. So we reach as far as we can. And if we physically can't, we find a way that we can get that person support where they are.
Beautiful.
Love it. So we're talking a lot about what the organization does or can do for the community. Let's talk for a second about what the community can do for the organization. What do you need from the community? Do you guys have fundraisers? Do you accept donations? Do you ask for volunteers? You spoke about members. So let's talk about what the community can do to help the organization.
Everything.
All of the above.
All of it. So the very unique aspect of Young Mothers of America, we have 43 team members. None of those team members are paid.
Right.
We are all a volunteer staff. We all work 24/7. The majority of our team actually lives on the village with our members, and they do that because they love me. It's nice. It's nice. But in reality, it's really because I love them and because we follow a Christ-like motto. They, every person who is on our team, I have prayed for them to come to us.
Yes.
And it's crazy. There is nobody who would do the things that our team completes and does, and I ask of them, and they do it with no money. So that in itself is God. The community can help us by volunteering,
Okay.
Okay.
by providing donations of clothing, specifically for men. We have a lot of fathers who come through our doors that need items for work. Or for interviewing purposes. Some of the fathers we have are single dads, and they pour all of their effort and all of their love and all of their funding into their children. And so they go without socks and underwear and undershirts, things that they really do need, but they just can't afford both. Other items we need, always children's clothing, and always mother's clothing also, but also feel good things. We are a sucker for fuzzy socks and bath bombs and smell goods, because the biggest thing about our organization is it's not just about the bare minimum.
Right.
When we teach mothers and fathers that the bare minimum is all they need, we don't actually feed into their self-confidence and into their lives. We also need household goods. So in our housing program, our mothers and fathers can move into brand new built 2024 homes, custom everything, custom hardwood floors, custom showers. I would like a home. So they have that opportunity, which is a blessing in itself.
Yes.
But we have a lot of members who live in those houses with no furniture,
Right.
because they just simply cannot. So anytime anyone in the community is thinking about throwing away a couch or throwing away chairs or tables, please consider us, because our members could use those items.
So good to know all of this. Okay, first of all, I'm blown away. You've been here how long in this community?
Oh, 2016?
Okay, so a long time. So I want to know why I haven't heard about this organization. But here's my question. You talked about, how the community can help. Are you connected to any churches? You said faith-based. Are you partners with churches? Are you partners with any other organizations, any beauty salons, barbershops, etc.? And then I want to know this beautiful young face here. I want to know what you do from day to day too. So whichever way y'all want to handle those questions.
You go first.
From day to day.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So just navigating our team, ensuring that everything is functioning properly, and then going out into the community, and then, just spreading the word about Young Mothers of America.
Okay.
That's my day-to-day operation.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And then as far as the partners.
So we genuinely try to root ourselves in church. I am a member of Divine Providence Baptist Church. Michael Griffin is my pastor. And so I beg a lot. We ensure that our members have the opportunity to attend church.
Okay.
Taylor is also an avid church member, and so she beg a lot.
Come as you are, community church. My pastor is Pastor Albert Brownlee.
Okay.
We just beg. So we would love to grow our relationships with churches, with local salons, with barbers, with all of those entities. I think we are a hidden gem.
Yes.
We
Yes.
do so much work within our members that being seen is not always our first priority, which is good, and it hinders. But we just really, really focus on the people who are coming to us, ensuring that they feel supported, ensuring that they feel safe, they feel loved. And that looks like why we don't take salaries,
Right.
because our goal is to 100% of those funds turn it right back into the organization and make sure that the people we're supporting, which we service 522 members in a 30-day period.
Wow.
So we see as we say in the office, goo gobs of people. It's just a lot. On any given day, we're seeing between 70 and 50 people in our office. So we have so much that we're doing that we would love to form those relationships. We would love to be more known in that aspect. We're working on it.
Absolutely. Tasha, Taylor, Young Mothers of America, we want to thank you for all that you do for the community, for our mothers, fathers, children, even though we don't care about them kids. We do want to thank you for being here. Community, you heard what she said. They need fuzzy socks, bath bombs, monetary donations, men's items. These, I assume, can be dropped off at the location, or you can reach out on the social media. Is there a phone number that you could drop?
Yes.
Okay.
It is 571-298-7618.
Correct. We talk about the importance of the village. So once again, we have in the studio with us tonight two wonderful ladies who are a part of that village. And as a community, it is our responsibility to also contribute to the village. So if you can help, please do so. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank these wonderful ladies for being here with us tonight. To the world, you are a mother, but to your family, you are the world's. And as we exit, Doc V, what do we remind everyone to do?
To always protect your mind.
A podcast by Neutral Voices Media Group. In the Know.